secret hatch. The real pterodactyl ghost must have come through here. A reptilian scale. A most wonderful clue.
I'll have you all know that Dara sent me a voice memo saying that she, like, texted me, like, days before. She was like, just so you know, you need to text me before you start this movie so I can send you something. And it was that.
I can't do many impressions very well, but I do feel pretty confident about that one. And since rewatching Scooby Doo 2, Monsters Unleashed, which is the movie we are covering today, I just cannot stop walking around my apartment going, the real pterodactyl ghost.
It's like that and, what is it? Oh god, Jennifer Coolidge, you do pretty well.
Yeah. Which they're not too far off from each other. It's very, like, back of the throat.
Yeah.
Ha noise.
Yeah. It's funny because you give off Velma. You give Velma. You're like your glasses right now. It's Velma. It's giving Velma.
Thank you. Yeah, I do have, like, brown hair and bangs, and, like, sometimes I just find myself wearing an orange turtleneck and, like, a brown skirt, and people are like, yeah, you look like Velma, and I'm like, fuck you, but then I'm like, no, you're right. I've always been a Velma bitch, you know, but Linda Cardellini really just put some stank on it with the Velma voice. And I don't know if she probably does it in the first one too, but just specifically with the way she says pterodactyl in this movie does something for me. Pterodactyl.
Like her voice quivers at the end.
Pterodactyl ghost. But this is The Swamp. It's our podcast, and it is an acronym.
Stands for some whack-ass movie podcasting.
My name is Dara. As always, I'm here with my lovely co-host, Emily. And as you may have picked up, we were talking about Scooby Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed for Sequels Month. It is Sequel September, and we're doing all sequels of movies that we have covered the first one of. So we did cover Scooby Doo. Does this first Scooby Doo have, like, a subtitle? I feel like it's not, like, Spooky Island or anything.
It is.
I think it's literally just called Scooby Doo.
Oh.
Is it?
I don't know. I think it's just called Scooby Doo, but this is Monsters Unleashed.
Yeah. And so we've gone over the basics. You know, movie one, we covered it. The casting is perfect.
Yeah.
The 2001, early 2000s energy, it's perfect. And so now we are here to get into the nitty gritty because this movie is unhinged.
I didn't remember a lot of this movie. Like rewatching it all came back to me, but, like, starting it, I was like, I knew the plot and the premise and that, like, all the monsters come alive and all that shit. But I didn't remember the ins and outs, except for the fact that sexy Velma, and Shaggy with boobs.
Right, this movie's so unnecessarily horny, and that, I was going to say, I could not tell you the plot. Like, I could not have told you the plot, but I did remember the details of those moments that really seared themselves into my mind as a child, which is definitely Scooby with the, Daphne's boot on, and he, like, wiggles the go-go boot. That, for some reason, really sticks to me. The whole sexy Velma scene is just, like, first of all, why? But second of all, thank you.
Yeah.
Like, to whoever decided that should happen. And then, yeah, also Shaggy with tits, which doesn't last nearly long enough because then he becomes buff Shaggy, and I'm like, whoa, can we take it back? Because...
Yeah, reel it back really quick.
But, so, I guess to get into the plot of this movie, which, before this rewatch...
Fast and loose.
I could have told you, like, okay, the monsters come alive, and then they have to figure out how to make them not alive anymore, is the plot of the film. Which is as much as I could have told you. And, like, the museum concept of, like, that the monsters in the museum are, like, the relics and they all come alive. It's basically what I could have told you before this rewatch. But to give a little recap, if you haven't rewatched Scooby Doo 2 Monsters Unleashed anytime recently, which I highly recommend, it's better than The Godfather. So... I'll just throw that one out there as far as cinema goes. But so the gang, the Scooby-Doo gang, Mystery Incorporated, they have a museum opening in Coolsville, and it's basically kind of their cataloging all of the monsters that they, over the years, have captured or, unveiled or whatever. And so they're going to the big premiere, gala, debut, ribbon cutting ceremony for this Coolsonian criminology exhibit. And I love this opening scene. They're all dressed up, and you get like the little fan pockets for each person. So like all the Velma girls are like in the little turtlenecks being like, you know, oh, we love you, Velma. And the guys who have Daphne on their chest, tattooed on their chest. This opening scene is so iconic. Henry was like, I want a Daphne tattoo on my chest. And I was like, you're married to a Velma, so please, you know, reconsider that.
Yeah, reel it in.
But the two guys who have just like wonky Sarah Michelle Gellar portraits on their chest, like iconic. But basically they encounter this journalist who seems to be asking some very pointed questions, which we then realize it's sort of a attempt to do a smear campaign, which is a whole other, you know, aspect of this. But basically they go into the museum and Seth Green is there and he's the museum curator. And there's a little tension between him and Velma because they both have like the nerdy sexy thing going on, but it's like, will they, won't they? Velma is too awkward. She doesn't think she's hot. So she's like, I'm not here for this. Which for some reason she's like, I'm too smart and focused on, you know, academics to have a boyfriend. And I'm like, since when are those two things like mutually exclusive? Velma, like, you know, obviously she's throwing some excuses out there.
Work-life balance, Velma.
But basically then some of the monsters start to come alive in the museum and really wreak havoc on this gala event, and this sort of masked figure. Does he have a name? The main bad guy?
I don't think so. I have no idea.
Masked man. Masked guy.
Masked guy.
Yeah, the masked, this, you know, villainous figure comes down and is basically like, ha ha ha, you will not get away with this, Mystery Inc. And then all the monsters sort of go away, and then, you know, they're like, oh no, we have to figure out the clues. We have to get clues and figure out what's going on here. And then basically it just kind of goes through. Shaggy and Scooby are feeling a little insecure about their role in the team. They want to kind of step it up. They kind of do their own thing. They have a dance number at one point. Basically, it's just them going through trying to figure out. They go into this warehouse where they realize all the monsters come alive on like this conveyor belt thing. And then they fight them. And it's like equal parts like magic, actual monsters are real and happening, and then also equal parts like people in costumes, which is very quintessential Scooby Doo, which I think this movie, I will criticize it for sort of straying away from the original Scooby Doo of like that monsters aren't real. It's always like a billionaire in a mask kind of vibe. Like the monsters in original Scooby Doo they're never actual monsters. They're never real like fucking skeleton things or whatever. It's always like
a guy,
you know, a hoax or whatever. But in this one, there are real, you know, monsters that through both like magic and science are becoming real. And then they have a whole chase scene through Coolsville with some pretty iconic, you know, monster moments. There's a cotton candy one, the gloopy one that definitely gives me visual textural. Is very pleasing to me. The goopy guy. And then, you know, in the end, they shut the whole thing down. Velma and Seth Green get together. They all have a big dance number. They unveil that I just always want to call him Buster Scruggs.
Fair.
That actor who plays, I always want to call him Battle of Buster Scruggs, but you know that actor, Tim Blake Nelson, he's also in Holes.
Oh, yeah.
He plays like the guy out there. Yeah, he's the one that they like uncover, which was kind of a jump scare for me.
I never realized that.
I will always clock Buster Scruggs. He's the one, so they originally thought he was the pterodactyl guy who had escaped from prison, but they thought he was dead. And basically then they pull the mask off and it's him, but they're like, just kidding, it's not Dr. Jacobo. And then they pull his head off and it's the actress from Clueless.
No, you got it inverse, because it was like her originally.
Oh!
It was her, and then they pulled their mask off, and it was Dr. Jacobo.
It's her, and then they pull her head off, and then it's actually him. Oh, see, that would have been kind of spicy if it was the other way around.
A little bit. Most definitely.
If she had actually been him the whole time, like, including the whole prison stunt,
oh my God.
that would have been...
Imagine.
So then it ends up just being Dr. Jacobo. I guess not... I feel bad for not knowing the actress from Clueless' name. I'm just like, that's Cher.
Yeah. Exactly.
And then that's the movie, basically. Yeah, fast and loose with the plot. It's really about early 2000s visual effects.
CGI.
And costumes, for me, is what this movie is doing the most.
I really liked the set design a lot. Like, their fucking Mystery Gang hangout as a kid. Oh. I don't know, it kissed my brain, right?
The 1970s conversation pit.
Yep, don't get me started, Dara.
Oh, so good. To me, like, this whole aesthetic is like if someone from the 80s was designing the 60s. You know what I mean? Like, you take 60s things, but then you make them in, like, 80s colors and, like, textures. I like everything is, like, vinyl and, like, shiny and, like, bright colors, but then it's like of the aesthetic of, like, you know, the 60s and early 70s. It's so good because, like, you know, Daphne's got her go-go boots and stuff, but they're like fucking electric purple.
Oh yeah,
like, yes,
it's so hot. I love it.
And obviously the Scooby Doo costumes are iconic from, like, their original state, but they vamp it up in this movie.
Oh yeah,
the way Daphne just wears a shirt with her own face on it for half the movie. I want to start doing that.
You should. That's what I do. That's what I do when I walk around with the swamp merch on.
I was just about to say, that's how I feel when I, like, wear swamp merch. People are like, oh, what's that? And I'm like, I have to say, like, oh, it's merch from my own podcast. I feel like such a narcissist.
Right.
I'm like, oh yeah, it's like I have a sweatshirt, like, for my own podcast.
Yeah.
But speaking of, go check out our merch. Link in the description. Even if you don't buy anything, just go look at it. It's fun. But her with the so, like, obviously the most iconic costume in this movie is Sexy Velma outfit.
Obviously.
But there have to be some, like, honorable mentions because I feel like that opening scene where they're going to the gala and Daphne has that, like, ostrich feather,
love it.
like, purple, like, shawl over her dress. Stunning. Fred's outfit too in that scene, also stunning. Shaggy's, like, brown, like almost like leathery, like velvet, crushed velvet brown suit with the little ruffles in the neck. Oh, it's so good. Just the whole thing. And not to bounce around, but the outfits that they wear when they go to the dance club and they do the whole, like, 1970s dance number with Scooby and the afro, and he's wearing, like, the, like, pimp suit. Fucking iconic. Oh, yeah.
Why has that dog got better fashion than I do?
So many Halloween costumes you could pull from this movie to be, like, Shaggy and Scooby from that specific, like, dance scene.
So good. Yeah. No, I think I would want to be the Goopy Ghost, though. That'd be my costume.
So the cotton candy ghost would also be pretty good, but my favorite of all of the ghosts that come alive is he just looks like a ghoul or a goblin.
I know exactly. You tweeted about him. I saw it.
He's just like a bald, like, kind of ogre-y looking guy, but he's the one he's driving the car in the car chase.
It's giving Fester from, like, the Addams Family.
It kind of meets Shrek a little bit, but, like, not quite, but he's the one who's driving the car, and he's just, like, open mouth, kind of terrified expression, screaming, and I'm just like, that's what I look like when I'm driving my car down, you know, the Mass Pike every day, just wanting to die. But that, Henry, frame by frame, we paused the movie, and he went frame by frame until he found the perfect moment where his face is, like, in just the most grimmest expression, and he's driving the car, and I had to teach him how to screenshot on his computer.
Oh my God.
Because we were watching, you know, through an HDMI, and then he set it as all of his backgrounds and everything, and all of his profile pictures. So now that, like, goblin-y ghost man driving is just everywhere.
Thank God. As he should be.
Everywhere I look digitally, he's present. And I'm not mad about it. No. But yeah, definitely, I think the Goopy Ghost is the one to me that is serving.
Yeah, I like him. I like the electricity one too. Like, I want to, like, stick my tongue on it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So definitely a textural thing in this movie. They
knew what they were doing when they were designing those ghosts, because they're like, the CG is gonna be a little bit crunchy, a little bit fuzzy, but we're gonna lean into it. We're really gonna make it like you know, lethargic and texture forward, because the motion isn't great, but, like, the character design I think really holds up. And it is, looking back, like, watching it, that the CG is not great, but I think that they do their best to do it in a way where it's distracting in a good way. It's, like, distractingly bad in a way that it's, like, fun, rather than distractingly bad in a way that's like, oh no, this is, like, taking me out of it. Like, it puts me more into it because of just how sort of animated and absurd everything is. And they definitely do that a lot more in this movie than they did in the first. I think they relied... I know the first movie, they have, like, the souls getting sucked out, which was definitely, like, a CG moment, but that was more, like, practical, I think, as far as, like, people... Like, it was very... Like, the island setting was, I think, had a bit more grounded in realism, where this one they really went for it.
Yeah, they really went for it, but like you can tell that like their budget was like obviously like spent on like Scooby. Scooby looks way better than everything else. Like obviously. But what is it? It's always like the skeletons, the two skeleton guys, those are the ones that really like stick it out for me. And I'm like, yeah, CG is not outstanding.
Oh yeah, I agree that the skeletons are like the most crunchy. Crunchily bad, but Scooby, they put so much into Scooby that Scooby's human passing.
Facts.
Scooby puts on a wig and people think Scooby is a human, and for that I just simply do not. They've done it twice now in both movies, which I guess is like quintessential in Scooby Doo, like whatever, but in both movies they put him in a costume and everyone around is just like, yeah, that's just a funny looking dude.
He just which looks mad silly.
I'd love to think that a Great Dane on hind legs with enough charisma could bumble his way through being human passing.
They made him like a womanizer in this movie too. Like he's dancing with that lady.
And she's feeling it. Honestly, I could look past the way he was twirling around. I could also look past.
He's got some moves.
He's moving fast enough.
He's got some moves. I'm not gonna lie.
He's got enough motion blur on the animation that's like you can't ever really get a good look at him. So you're like, yeah, this is
yeah, this works. This works. No, the tension between Scooby and that woman was a lot, but also the fucking homosexual tension between Daphne and Velma. We talked about it in the first movie, but we need to go back to it because obviously, like, the director was still kind of like giving like that homoerotic like tidbit because I was like a whole thing of like he did want like Daphne and Velma to like be gay together, but like it got like shut down by the who did this, like Warner Bros or some shit like that. Yeah, obviously got shut down for like 2005, 6.
Yeah, they did want. I know the first movie they definitely wanted it to be a little bit more adult oriented with like Shaggy and Scooby are ripping a bong. Like, it's very obvious that they're smoking weed, but they were like, no, it needs to be, like, more kid-oriented, obviously. Which, I think today, if they wanted to do an edgy one, if they could get that exact cast back together to do, like, an edgy adult live-action Scooby-Doo, I would be here for it.
I think everyone would be.
I'm not always here for, like, the revival and the revamp, because it's kind of just tired at this point, but for that specifically, to get Matthew Lillard back on my TV screen, I would do anything, you know, as Shaggy. But yeah, the homoerotic tension, I think, really comes to a peak. It comes to a peak in this movie. And it is definitely, like, the gay awakening. Not only just Sexy Velma, but, like, the lead up to Sexy Velma, I think, is a real, like, queer awakening because they're crawling on the ground and then they, like, bump noses. And basically, it's the whole time is Daphne is giving Velma a speech of, like, you're hot. Like, you don't think you're hot, but you are hot. And you just have to, like, be confident. And you're a cool person and you're nice and you're funny and you, like, are hot. You just have to believe it. And, you know, if you believe it and you act like everyone else will believe you, which is true. This is a great lesson, I think. Everyone needs to know this. I feel this way about when people are like, oh, I can't pull that off. Like, as far as, like, wearing something.
Like, no, you can.
Or, like, a haircut or, like, fun jewelry. Yeah, you can pull, anyone can pull anything off. I am structurally built like Felicity the American Girl doll. I should not be able to pull off, like funky outfits, but I just wear them. I just wear them because it's fun and I like it. And everyone's like, oh my God, how do you pull that off? I'm like, I literally just put it on my body.
That's how.
And I think that's a good lesson, especially for, this movie embarks me on my fashion journey because as a Velma, I said, yeah, I can wear a pleather latex suit. I can do it too. But, I mean, the whole thing is, though, that she's really uncomfortable the whole time, which makes sense. Just structurally, it's not really a very smart outfit.
No, I love it, though. Seth Green, that outfit was wasted on Seth Green. I want to see Daphne struggle to take it off of Velma. Like, imagine the scene of, like, Daphne, like, helping Velma into it. And I love that Daphne had this for her. I don't think this is something that, like, Velma, like, had sitting in her closet. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like, you go out shopping every now and then and you have, like, you find those, like, statement pieces that you're like, I don't know when I'll ever wear this, but I have to have it because it's just never gonna show up again. I don't think this was that for Velma. I think Daphne saw this, thought of her, and was waiting for the right moment. And that's gay.
Daphne she didn't find it. She had it made. She had this custom made. She found Velma's measurements and she sent it to her professional latex person who does all of her latex gear. her personal latex latexist. And she was like, I'm gonna need a moment where I need to give this bitch a confident boost, so just really go ham on this piece, but make it orange, you know? They did not have to go so hard with the scene where she walks down the stairs and then says,
Who's your mommy? Oh my god. What? Yeah, we should have done this movie for Gay Awakenings, because this did a lot for me. This and rewatching it, because obviously I knew that scene was like a staple. But Daphne fighting the Black Knight ghost, I was like, why is something being like reawoken in me? What's going on here?
And I love that's when she's wearing the shirt with her own face on it, and I'm like, we love like a self-loving badass bitch. Queen. My favorite thing about, I don't know if they do it so much in the old cartoons, but I know in these two movies they make like karate, like hand-to-hand combat is Daphne's specialty. Like that's what she's bringing to the table, and I love that they're like, out of this group we're gonna pick like the person you would think to be, you know, the one who would run away or be scared or whatever. Like, she's gonna be the bad bitch who does jujitsu and kicks the shit out of... Yeah, I agree. It is also very much giving in the first movie when she fights the, like, wrestler guy. It's like a revival of that, you know? We loved it then and we love it again.
Mm-hmm. Can't go wrong with that.
Also, another Daphne moment that definitely stuck out to me as a kid was when they get trapped in that cage and she uses her cosmetic products to peel the fingerprint. This is totally the kind of thing that, you know, factually, so it's very much giving National Treasure, which I also was obsessed with as a kid, and though in the way National Treasure where he peels her fingerprint off of the champagne glass using like lemon juice or whatever, if you broke it down, that probably is not fucking how that works. And the same thing here, she like puts blush on the fingerprint and then uses a pore strip to peel the last fingerprint off with the blush and then repress it back on. There's no fucking way that that's how that works, but I love it. And this is the kind of thing that as a kid I would have thought was 100% real, and I definitely like went around with pieces of tape trying to pull people's fingerprints like off of doorknobs and stuff. After this movie.
Hell yeah. Well, that's the thing, is they got real creative with it. Like, that's like real enough like for like a child that you're like, that's how that works. You're like, yeah, that's exactly how they do it.
Oh my goodness, it's Jen! I get more and more surprised every week that she comes by for the segment that she hosts every week. Back at it again with another chocolate or vanilla interim podcast segment where my lovely mother Jen comes in, we play a game called Chocolate or Vanilla. She gives us two options. We all just say which one we like better. Sometimes there's a theme, sometimes they're not, but I know there's a theme because Jen, you are iconically following the sequel September roadmap, and you are sequeling what we had done for the first movie. So if you go back and listen to our first Scooby Doo episode, whatever the chocolate or vanilla theme was then, that's what we're doing now. And by God, if I don't forget what it was. So will you remind me?
You guys don't remember?
Nope.
No.
Okay, ready? See if I can do this. FANNDOOLLEE.
Oh! Scooby Doo, it's double letters.
So Fanny Dooley is this skit they did on the show Zoom, and like Fanny Dooley likes things with double letters, but she doesn't like things without double letters. So these
so
are
you'd
just...
say like Fanny Dooley likes lollipops but doesn't like suckers because lollipop has the double letter but sucker doesn't, and Fanny Dooley only likes the double letter thing. So it's like a fun riddle for kids. If anyone watched the PBS show Zoom shouts out.
It's like the green glass door game. You know that one?
No, what's that one? Game. I don't know that.
It's the same thing. You can only bring certain things through the green glass door. I can bring cookies, but I can't bring crackers.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
It's the same rule.
Yep. So,
or do you just go, it's like a camp game, you go in a circle and somebody says like, I want to bring hot dogs, and then they say, no, you can't go through, until eventually you like are supposed to
figure it out. Yeah.
And you kick people out of the camp circle.
No, it's a really good, like, if you have a long car ride, this is the second best car game, right after chocolate or vanilla.
Thank you.
So
obviously.
So
let's get into it.
Yeah, so these are all going to be things with double letters.
Alright, just a second. My entire
microphone just broke. Oh my, it's in pieces.
It's
Deborah.
I wasn't looking. How did that happen?
I'm sorry if there was a little bit of commotion just then. My microphone is being held together by one of those tools that you use to eat a lobster, like a whole lobster. Those little tiny fork tools used to crack it open with is currently, like, in replace of some very important screw in my microphone, so I'm sorry. But,
we'll forgive you.
Moving on to double letters.
Okay. Chocolate or vanilla?
I'm gonna do something groundbreaking, and I'm gonna say vanilla because
leading
up to this podcast, well, that would be kind of iconic. But
yeah,
leading up to
double
this,
letters.
I ate a vanilla ice cream sandwich, like a vanilla sugar cookie ice cream sandwich, and it's still bursting on my tongue, flavorful. I'm enjoying it, so I'm gonna say vanilla this week.
Wow, this is groundbreaking. I did break before you. But I'm glad to see you weren't too far behind. I'm gonna stick with vanilla.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with vanilla also. Just
wow.
a double letter.
A sweep?
Next one, chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry?
Still vanilla.
I'll go strawberry this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go strawberry also. All right, first one, Madonna or Lizzo?
Oh, I feel like culturally, throughout history, Madonna's the correct answer, but in my life, I think I've listened to more Lizzo and enjoyed more Lizzo content than I have Madonna content,
yeah.
And I got to see Lizzo speak, and I camped out and got, third row seats, so I was, less than 30 feet away from her, and she was just magical. So to be in the same room as electrifying Lizzo was really life-changing, so I have to say her.
Yeah, I'm also gonna go with Lizzo, considering that she just hours ago, I believe, won her first Emmy.
Oh.
So she's on the way to being an EGOT holder, winner.
Oh,
I don't
hell
know.
yeah!
I love that.
So
yeah,
Lizzo
I'm
sure.
gonna go with Lizzo too. I'm super into Lizzo right now. Next one is Dobby or Harry Potter.
I gotta say Dobby, because Harry Potter was a spineless bitch-ass motherfucker, and Dobby was, literally a slave and just trying his best to bust free, so, gotta give credit where credit is due, you know?
Yeah, I also gotta go with Dobby on this one.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Dobby. Okay, the next one is three Motown songs, or Dancing in the Moonlight by Van Morrison, River Deep, Mountain High by Tina Turner, or You're All I Need to Get By Marvin Gaye.
So these are all ones that are definitely on my scream in the car when there's traffic playlist, and you don't realize since you're in traffic that the person next to you can see you, and you're doing a solo, and then you make eye contact with them, and you're like, oh god, how long have you been watching me? But I have to go with the first one. Dancing in the Moonlight is chef's kiss.
I have to speak my truth and say River Deep Mountain High, because that song goes so hard.
We did that one in show choir. We did that one in show choir when our theme was rivers. Do you remember that? The theme of the show was rivers, and they did River of Dreams by Billy Joel, but they also did this one, and I was like, could you have picked something less specific?
No, I just know that this song... I'm going to bring this up. Yeah. Because I have to. This song raised me. That was the best duet, if not one of the best songs performed on that show in general.
Was it Santana and Mercedes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Easily. Yeah. So, that song, for sure, 10 out of 10, hands down.
Nice. This one was hard for me, but I love Dancing in the Moonlight. It's one of my faves, so that's what I'm going to go with. All three are definitely turn them up in the car, though.
Mm-hmm.
Next one, for chain restaurants, we got Cheesecake Factory or Applebee's.
See, Applebee's is when I'm feeling trashy. Cheesecake is when I'm feeling classy. But, because, you can get a $1 margarita and a lava cake at Applebee's and, on a Tuesday night, and nobody's gonna look twice at you. And it's a nice feeling. But I do have to say, there's something about the ambiance of the Cheesecake Factory that astral projects me into a headspace that I cannot achieve otherwise. Who the fuck did the interior design for that chain restaurant? I want to know. Like, they're like, oh, it's going to be kind of like there are pyramids, but also, like, the Eye of Sauron is going to be here, and then there's going to be, like, red leather seats. What the fuck? What the fuck was going on? I love it, though. And the bread that they give you, I had a kick where some friends and I would drive to the nearest Cheesecake Factory, which was probably, like, 45 to an hour away just to get the spinach artichoke dip, which comparatively is like probably just okay, but we just had a hyperfixation. And to get the brown bread that they give you, we would ask for only baskets of brown bread. We're like, don't even bother bringing out that other shit because I don't care, and dip the brown bread in the spinach artichoke dip. That's a hot tip for you right there.
That's a good call. Here's the thing, is that I will end up spending money at Cheesecake Factory for quality that is not much better than Applebee's.
You are so
It's
right.
bullshit. It's total bullshit. Like, there's a couple of things that are, like, pretty decent on their menu, you know what I mean? But, like, I went out for my friend's birthday a couple of months ago. It was, like, a group of 5 of us, and 2 out of the 5 of us got, like, really decent meals, and everyone else was like, yeah, this is garbage. This is shit garbage. But you know what? I know that I'm getting shit garbage at Applebee's, and I'm paying next to nothing for it. And again, like you said, Dara, like, it's about the experience at Cheesecake Factory. I think it's about the experience at an Applebee's. You're gonna run into someone from high school there.
Oh, they're gonna be your waiter. Yeah,
they're gonna be your waiter,
and you're gonna pretend you don't know each other, and you're both gonna be like, oh, we're doing
this is mutual.
Right?
Yeah. And I'm gonna get shit faced off of like $1 drinks and half price apps. So I'm gonna go for Applebee's.
Yeah, and you are surrounded by TVs. So many TVs at Applebee's. I love it.
I need blue light glasses because there's just so much going on.
I'm gonna take Applebee's also. The Cheesecake Factory menu is like a binder. It's like too much.
Too much. It is too much.
First year of college, Introduction to English 101 level, mandatory reading, is that you get through the analysis, the literary analysis of the Cheesecake Factory menu, because they have no business having that many. They have the Skinny-licious menu, too, that they tuck in there, as if anyone at a restaurant called the Cheesecake Factory is going to order off of the Skinny-licious menu. Go fuck yourself.
At the end of the semester, they quiz you on all the calorie counts.
Because you have to, because you look at the calories on the real food, you're like, oh, I guess I have to go with Skinny-licious. This is insane.
It's fucked up.
It's
seriously fucked up.
It's like
literally.
The fucked up thing is that, like, the salads. The salads are the most. You go to the salads and they're like, this is a 3,700 calorie salad. And no, we're not fucking joking.
Next one is mall food. Auntie Anne's pretzels, Sparrow, or Taco Bell.
What's a Sparrow?
Sbarro? The pizza?
Sbarro.
Oh,
Sbarro. I'm sorry.
Sbarro. Yeah, oh no. Sabar, yeah. I thought you just Sparrow, like the bird, and I was like, Jen, you raised me in the mall, and I'm just, as a baby, you would push me around in the mall, and for almost every mall in the central Massachusetts region, could by memory fill out a map of where all the stores are. I swear to God. Gun to my head, I could do it confidently.
That's true.
The Natick Mall, if anyone out there, the Natick Mall.
That's a jump away, too.
You bet your fucking ass. That's where the Cheesecake Factory is.
I know.
Yeah, believe it or not. But I gotta go with the Auntie Annie's because those little pretzel nuggets coated in cinnamon sugar, and then you dip it in that
sweet
glaze sauce. That just tickles my fancy.
See, it's so tough. This is a really tough one, Jen. Because I love Taco Bell.
You said Taco Bell, but Taco Bell to me is not for the mall. Taco Bell's to eat
outside.
in my car.
Yeah. That's true. I did have like 11 a.m. Sbarro recently because I had to go get my phone fixed at the Apple store. And that was the first thing I put in my body that day. But I guess I'm also going to have to go with Auntie Anne's. I like that I have the sweet option, or I have the option of getting, like, salty with the cheese. My preferred is the honey mustard, though. So,
me too.
Yeah. So Auntie Anne's, because there's variety there.
Yeah, I'm going to say Auntie Anne's too. And I love how they can make the pretzel right in front of you. Like,
right.
you see them making it.
With like a slushie and it's just all straight sugar. Oh my god.
For me, it was when the Orange Julius was next to it and you got your Orange Julius before Orange Julius fully merged with Dairy Queen and they had their own standing locations. I feel like that's not really a thing anymore, but...
No. I don't know what happened. I think they just went bankrupt.
Next one is bubble tea or bubble gum.
I gotta say, bubble tea, boba, as it is formally referred to, the boba. I had never really had it, and then recently, my friend Rachel has been very hyper fixated on boba, and was like, "We gotta do this." And I have a lot of like texture issues, and I thought it was going to be on the negative side of that, but it's very much on the positive side. I love the feeling of those little bobas just slipping through that straw. By God. It's nice.
I've never had it, and I was a big gum kid, so I guess I'll say gum, but I really want to try boba tea. I just don't feel like spending like $10, you know?
She is pricey, but...
Yeah, I would say the same thing as them. I've never had bubble tea, so I'm going to go bubble gum. Next one is Shake It Off by Taylor Swift or Wannabe by the Spice Girls.
Oh, it's gotta be the Spice Girls. As much as we love Queen Tay-Tay, I think Wannabe by the Spice Girls is so fucking iconic, and anytime it comes up, especially in like movies and media, it goes so hard. Like, they make sure that song is used to its full potential. I also love, I don't really know a ton about British culture, but through watching Drag Race UK, it's basically my only, and like, you know, reality TV like based in the UK, y'all love the Spice Girls. Like, they are like royalty over there. Like, and still, they're big in the 90s. They don't even release new music anymore. They've been disbanded for years. I think I heard every day on the radio in the UK, you can find Spice Girls. That's crazy to me. Respect your elders.
Yeah. I'm also gonna go with Spice Girls on this one. That song's iconic.
I agree, but I love T Swift, so I'm gonna go with Shake It Off.
That's fair.
The Spice Girls were on the most recent season of The Circle. Did you guys watch The Circle?
Only two of them. It was only Baby and Scary?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had a...
Nobody but us watched that show, Mom. That's another one that is nobody but us.
Next one is LL Bean or Urban Outfitters.
Both. So, for ethical reasons, I think I have to pick LL Bean, because I know Urban Outfitters has definitely committed some socially questionable and also like unethical manufacturing practices type of thing, but also like stealing people's artwork and putting it on their clothes is a big one, and like using Native American imagery and like not giving money to those people. It's like a whole thing. I don't know if you look into it. Urban Outfitters is kind of fucked. It's best to stay away from it, but, you know, a sale rack's a sale rack, you know. But, and I gotta say, I live in Maine right now, and people up here go apeshit for LL Bean. People go fucking crazy for that. And I don't think I've ever owned anything LL Bean, but I think just for, like, sustainability and ethical reasons, I have to go with that one, I guess.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go for LL Bean. I don't think I've ever bought a single thing from Urban Outfitters because it's out of my price range. Maybe a beanie once. But LL Bean, their shit is made to last, and I love that. And I own a couple of things. I own, like, these, they're flannels, but they're fleece on the inside, and they're one of the best things that I own. So I'm gonna say LL Bean.
Yeah, I'll go with you guys on LL Bean for sure. Next one is Yankee Candle or Williams Sonoma.
So, I feel like, if you don't know, I feel like it's pretty regionally specific, both of these, but Yankee Candle, I think, is basically just a New England thing, right?
I don't know. I thought it was nationwide.
Oh, but we have the factory here, and we most importantly have the secondhand outlet store in our town, so they have all the fucked up candles that, like, can't go on the real store racks because they're too pristine, but, like, the wick's just a little crooked, so you get it for half off, which, to me, is pretty fire. And I do have to say I hold a bit of a grudge because I applied to be a social media marketing director at Williams-Sonoma, and they rejected me. And I felt like I was overqualified for it. But you know what? You fuck them. Fuck them. They do put out those little crackers in their stores, and it's really, it's great, and it's cute, but I have to say Yankee Candle because we love a bargain.
Yeah, I'm here for Yankee Candle. I've been raised on Yankee Candle, so.
Yeah, same. A Yankee Candle smells better than any other candle, right?
Right? And I love going to the factory store, like, you know what I mean? Over in, like, Deerfield area. Oh, my God.
So much fun.
Love it.
Especially around Christmas. Like.
Exactly.
Next one is Glee or Pretty Little Liars.
Glee is iconic. Glee is, I was just about to say effervescent, but that's not the word. I mean, like, everlasting, like it will never die.
Cursed.
Immortal, maybe.
Immortal's good.
I think Glee will, like, never ever escape from, like, mainstream culture conversation. I think it will always find a way to pop back up. And Pretty Little Liars, you know, for the time it was doing something, but Glee is forever.
Glee is forever. I'm so with Dara on this Glee.
Yeah. You know I'm
Jen didn't know that Leah Michelle can't read.
Oh my God.
I have never heard that.
See,
Well,
I'm it's tough because I'm seeing a lot of I want to hate her for the funny girl thing, justice for Beanie Feldstein, but I have been hearing.
oh, she's killing it.
Yeah,
she's doing a great
she's
job.
killing it. So sucks, but anyways.
Illiterate though, illiterate.
Yeah, I heard she.
I stand by
There's
that.
like a line that it's like in the show that's like, I haven't read many books or something like that, and that people like audibly gasped and like laughed. Yeah. So.
And we know this to be true? Like it's...
No.
No.
It's a conspiracy theory. But like
it's a conspiracy theory with legs to stand on, in my opinion.
Like there's like video of like her like at an award show and she like has to like read the name of like the off the card or whatever, and she kind of like waits for like the second person to do it first or whatever. Or like
I'll send it to you, Jen.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's intriguing.
It's like just
it's intriguing to dive into.
It's just so strange because like all she has to do is read something to refute this.
Well, she tried to do a children's book reading recently to prove it wrong, but her hair is covering her ear, and everyone's like, "You're wearing an earpiece." Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's obviously like there's a way around it. She's like, "I'm gonna read this children's book on like a live or whatever," but it's like, "Oh, girl, you have an earpiece." In.
Really?
Anyways, this is not a Glee podcast.
I'm intrigued to think how she could like.
Because she was a child star, so she never had to
all
learn.
the script for her lines.
Her parents and managers recited lines back to her, and she memorized them.
Wow.
And so she knew her lines on set, but that's because she had like memorized them. Not she can't read them. Anyway, I don't know. Moving on. I'm sure all y'all know about the Leah Michelle can't read meme thing. I'm here for it.
Yeah.
Right. Well, yeah, you know I'm taking Glee because I love Glee. Next one is the last one. Gucci, Burberry, or Tommy Hilfiger.
Again, all of these three are like not anything I would ever own or could ever own, really. But I think out of those three, Gucci does the most like iconic things, like for the runway, like when celebrities wear Gucci. I think some of it's kind of like a lot of the commercial facing stuff is like the Gucci slides. I think that's fucking stupid. And like the Gucci bags, whatever. But when Gucci releases a collection, I think it's usually pretty iconic and pretty admirable compared to Burberry. I think it's just the coats and the plaid.
Yeah.
Whatever. Tommy Hilfiger, it's all very like clean cut, and that's just like not really my taste. Yeah. Whereas I think Gucci does a little more cutting edge stuff as far as like, you know, high end, as far as my, you know, fashion observance goes.
Yeah, I'll go with Gucci on this one. Not like as if I've ever owned any, but...
Yeah, same. I'll never own any Gucci, but I'll go Gucci for this week. And
hell yeah.
That was it for double letter chocolate or vanilla.
Thank you, Jen.
Stunning.
Thank you, guys.
Loved it. So as usual, as sometimes, as occasionally, I will try to post these on the Instagram in this upcoming probably weekend. Keep your eyes peeled for that, and you can vote on which thing you like best. And as always, Jen, thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, blessing us with these questions, and letting us loudly share our opinions.
Thank you. I love you. Have an awesome week.
Bye.
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 One of the things that I was thinking of was, like, what if, like, there's, so, like, because part of this movie is, like, Shaggy and Scooby, like, sitting there, like, trying to be, like, real helpful with it, and you know what I mean? And be like, okay, like, we're actually gonna pull our weight. Like, the amount of times they should have died in the middle of this movie is insane.
Yeah, I think they're the characters that you definitely have to suspend your disbelief of, like, they're getting themselves into situations that just factually, like, yeah, they would perish.
Yeah.
They would be, also, even, the scene that I remember made me, like, retch and, like, physically tense up as a kid was when they fall into that trash, down the trash chute, and they're covered in trash, and then more trash falls on them, and they have, like, spaghetti and, like, food and food waste on them. But that scene where they're in the bar of, like, the villain bar or whatever, where all the people who hate Mystery Inc. go to hang out at one bar, I guess, and then they sort of get, like, unveiled. They're at, like, the furthest point from the exit, and they run through, and people only start chasing them until they've, like, well passed. I'm like, if everyone in this bar all of a sudden at the same moment realizes it's them, they're fucking done for. But somehow that just logistically bugged me.
That's fair.
They would have gotten clocked. Mm-hmm. They would have gotten clocked, but then they jumped down the trash chute, which also, no way. Like, no fucking way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, them landing and all of that, I remember as a kid, I hate, like, wet food, like, in the sink for, like, when you're doing I hate it. I hate it. And then being covered in food waste as a kid, I was like, I need to excuse myself. Like, I have to go. This is so gross.
Yeah, this is anti-textural for me right now.
Yeah, but then the gloopy monster comes up, and I'm like, oh, thank God. We're back.
We're back. It's like a warm hug from a friend.
It's like a safe touch point again. I'm like, okay, I'm recentered. Yeah. I'm back.
No.
To a visual texture that is pleasing.
No, it's the same thing with Fred and Daphne. Spaghetti. Like, those two should have done. Like, Daphne, it's like the 3,000 watts ghost or something like that, and Daphne just runs into him and goes flying across, like, the field or whatever. Listen, I'm like, you're toasted, dude. Like, your insides are
scrambled.
Your insides are burnt, dog. Like, how Fred got, like, lanced off his fucking motorcycle because there's this whole, like, jousting scene with the Black Knight ghost.
Yeah, no shot. He's not wearing protective gear.
No.
Not at least enough.
Velma's, like, the only person that would have, like, maybe lived throughout this movie, and that's about it.
And it's only because Seth Green was there to grab her hand as she's falling. Yeah. That moment. So throughout the whole movie, he's sort of like a red herring, I guess. We're supposed to sort of feel sus about him, that he's the one behind it, because he's kind of caught being a little sneaky suspicious some of the time. But then it's the big reveal at the end that you thought it was going to be him who gets unmasked, but it's really not him. It's the reporter, who then ends up being Buster Scruggs. But so they do the whole, like, can we trust him or not thing the whole movie. But then in the big reveal, it's like Velma's falling to her death and he grabs her, which proves that he's a good guy, which I was just kind of like, what? His whole character, I was like, what is this doing?
I could have cared less.
The only thing it gives is the opportunity for sexy Velma to, materialize. She had no reason to...
Which I guess is fine.
Which, to me, the most... Not to get back to the sexy Velma costume, but the thing...
No, we have to.
The thing that is the wildest about that whole situation to me is that they go on this, like, fake little double date, but then they get sidetracked with, obviously, some mystery and hijinks and, things they need to do and monsters they need to fight and everything. And so they sort of all get broken up. And she's still in this sexy outfit. But then at one point, she unzips it more and has a fucking sweater on underneath to be like oh, the real me, like, I'm not gonna pretend anymore, I'm gonna be the real me. Bitch, you know how hard latex is to, like, get fitted like that? I mean, I know obviously not for real, shouldn't for real have a sweater under there the whole time, it's movie magic, but and see, I'm like, realistically, you would have been so sweaty to wear a cardigan under a latex suit. Absolutely the fuck not. No matter how much you're like, oh, I need to be my true self on the inside and wear my real clothes under this costume that I'm putting on. No. It would have never worked. And especially, we know Daphne had to help her get into that shit, and Daphne would not have let that shit slide.
Absolutely not. She said, "You're doing this with your whole chest, no sweater underneath. Thank you."
But even when she pulls down that zipper to reveal the sweater underneath, my body, I can feel the way a cardigan under latex would feel, and I hate it.
Yeah, I will say I like the they have like this whole like high school like flashback scene kind of thing of them all playing frisbee together, which comes back later. It's like a whole thing. But I love Velma's in like the high necked like turtleneck and like shorts, and I'm saying like, this is fashion. I love this for you. The shorts, hell yeah.
I feel like people who like to like experiment a little bit with the fashion, serve a look at the grocery store kind of thing. We are entering the season where the weather is most optimal because it's not too cold. When it's too cold, I mean, at least we live in New England, so it's like, we're like in the 60s. When it's like 50s, high 40s, to me, that is perfect because you can still wear the turtleneck, but you can wear the high-waisted shorts with the turtleneck because the weather allows you, like when it's so cold that you have to, it's either so cold or so hot that you have to dress like for what the weather is permitting your body for. We're entering that, like, if you're willing to be a little bit chilly, you can serve a turtleneck sweater with like a booty short. Like, it can work, you know? We're entering that optimal, but that was like, she's in the park playing frisbee and she's wearing like a turtleneck cardigan, but like with shorts. Like, what, that logistically makes no sense, but it was a serve. Okay. It was a serve.
I'll tell you what, like, there's what, like more like with like them that like high school montage and everything like that. They go and like, we talked about how their house is like super cool, or their like mystery headquarters or whatever. I'm assuming they live there.
Well, if they don't, that's fucked up.
What's the roommate dynamic between them all? Like, do they get along? Because it's like one of those things, like, you live with someone for long enough that it's like, you're sitting there, you're like, dude, I need my space. Like how does that work? Yeah,
because they're clearly like longtime friends, but then also turned coworkers. This seems to be some sort of a profitable business because they have the funds, public funding, private funding.
Good question.
Who's to say who's paying for this conversation pit of a living room, and that kitchen and that lab that they have just to like.
Bro, I know Daphne designed it. That's the thing, is I know Daphne with her fucking her latex guy. She had her like interior design like
team,
gay best friend. Yeah, she had like her team. She was like oh, what's her name in Beetlejuice? And she's like, if you don't let me regut this house, I'll go insane.
Yeah, absolutely. Catherine O'Hara.
Catherine O'Hara, thank you.
But, absolutely. But, wherever they're getting this funding, so they're like long time, because they've known each other, canonically since high school, I guess. Then turned, business partners, Mystery Incorporated, day-to-day boots on the ground co-workers and roommates, and you've got the sort of romantic entanglement of Daphne and Fred, which is never like, they don't kiss, do they ever kiss?
I think they do in this one.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I couldn't tell you, but I feel like it's always...
Listen, that's not the dynamic I'm invested in.
So it's like a couple plus two other friends plus their dog, who's basically a person. Right?
Yeah.
They're like anthropomorphized, human-like dog who can speak.
The hound.
It is also in this movie, there are other dogs who cannot, they're normal dogs who don't speak English. Yeah. So it's, what sort of freak accident happened that Scooby Doo can speak English? Like, give me the lore there.
My question is, like, does he have the lifespan of a human or, like, a normal dog? Like, what happens after, like, 12 to 14 years when Scooby dies?
We have to assume that it's that of a human because he's been with them, so that if that flashback was high school and now they have to be in there, let's generously give them mid to late 20s, but they're all clearly like 30 plus here.
Yeah.
Scooby,
like, he's gotta be.
And Scooby's still kicking. The way he danced in that scene, he acts like a spry young Great Dane. He has to have the lifespan of a human because he would be an old dog.
His ACLs haven't gone yet, yeah.
either he has the greatest like puppy chiropractor of all time, who's just really keeping that shit in check. That's a thing? People bring their like pets to the chiropractor, right? Like for
I think so. Wild. Yeah, I think that's true.
I'd like to think that Scooby's gonna live well into his 80s with Shaggy, and they're gonna just be old men at the same rate. You know,
most definitely.
That's what would make me happy.
Yeah, no, I think that's correct. But what was I originally gonna say? Oh, yeah. The high school hangout that they have is like some old like treehouse kind of thing, but it's again so sick. And Fred walks in there, he's like, "Oh, the dingy ass high school hangout. I remember this." I was like, "Fuck you, brother. I would live there. I would live in that tree."
Right. Realistically, if they actually took the kind of places high schoolers hang out, they would just be like in an abandoned
in a car in a parking lot.
Yeah, in an empty parking lot, in like an abandoned well. Or like a dam, in a dried up dam in the woods, like doing graffiti. No, where did you get that lab equipment? Riddle me that.
Seriously.
I guess they had to start somewhere. Though. Yeah, somebody has like a rich dad who.
No, it's giving like Breaking Bad, like Velma went to like the high school and like stole like all of like the science equipment.
I would love they're solving all the mysteries out of the van though. And the back of the van is like a dingy RV that they're just like they're not cooking meth, but they are like running tests. Yeah, with stolen high school lab equipment. Velma is that bitch. I think she would.
Do we want to get into our regularly scheduled programming?
Yeah. So I feel like we'd also just have to do the 4 excluding Scooby because he's a dog. Like, we have to just do the 4. We just have to add a 4th. Like, fuck, marry, kill, and then do we want to do, like best friends, be roommates with, be mystery and coworkers? Like, what do we want this little 4th spin one to be?
I'd say coworkers, I guess.
Okay, yeah. Fuck, marry, kill, work.
Yeah, work. I'm gonna fuck. It's tough because the work dynamic now, that is like a very specific, because I think that I would probably work best with Daphne, honestly. Mm-hmm. Fred would mansplain to me.
She seems like she'd be a really good coworker.
Really good coworker, but like, also I'm like, I want to fuck Daphne. You know what I mean? I don't want to I don't really want to fuck Fred. Okay, I think I've got it figured out. I'm gonna marry Velma. I'm gonna be coworkers with Daphne. I'm gonna kill Fred. And I'm gonna fuck Shaggy, because we'd be having really stupid, goofy sex. I'm here for that.
Nice. I like that. And I feel like he's gonna make you a big sandwich afterwards.
Exactly.
That would be nice. Yeah.
Like, he's got my favorite snacks on deck, you know what I mean?
I feel like I have to agree, kill Fred. There's no space for him here. Like, no. To me, like Freddie Prinze Jr., he's serving. He's doing a great job, but just Fred as a character, it's like male patriarch, like boring, quintessential. No, it's not, that's not it. So we're killing Fred. I think I have to fuck Daphne, because, like, to me, that is just obvious. I feel like they really tried to do something here. They're like, early 2000s feminism, she's not a dumb blonde. She's a smart redhead. Like, they took all the, like, the stereotype of, like, a dumb, pretty blonde. But no, she's like a badass redhead. Why was, like, the feminist thing to do would to be just give them red hair, I feel.
I don't know.
The early 2000s.
Riddle me that.
Is that...
I don't know. I wish I could say.
Then I'm gonna marry Velma, because I just think we would be very compatible. And then I think I'd like to be coworkers with Shaggy, because even though a major plot line of this movie is that he's bad as a coworker and is trying his best to get better, I think at least he has the motivation. And I think I can sometimes vibe with a coworker who's, like, not great at their job and not always, like, being productive, but is, like, fun to be around. I think that can really bring something to an office of, like, I'm a little bit annoyed that you're not, like, being as productive as I would like you to be pulling your weight, but, like, you're a really fun person to, like, grab lunch with, or, like, I can make side-eye contact with you during the meeting and we're, like, both thinking the same, like, thing, I think he could be, like, a fun, good energy to have at the office, and I think, their whole thing is that they are like, oh, they're so goofy and they're always messing up all the time, but, like, I think that adds a really important dynamic to the group, you need that. So I think I'll be coworkers with them, and that would be nice.
So instead of opening it up to the whole movie, I want to open it up to the monsters. Fuck, marry, kill, which monsters?
Okay, so I think I have to marry the goopy tar the black tar guy, just because I want to get swallowed in that every night and just have enough room out to like breathe, but to like it would be the ultimate weighted blanket.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna. Can I fuck the one that's a person, the guy in the suit? But like as the masked man, but he's really Buster Scruggs. But I want him to be wearing the journalist mask.
Because she just want to fuck Clueless.
Yeah, I feel. But it would still, it would be a little rubbery and strange, I think.
Okay.
Or maybe I don't know if it would count as. I don't know if it would count as sex, but just to get blasted by the electric one.
Yeah.
To get a good solid blast. Maybe with sexual intent behind it, but like
that is called sex, getting a good solid blast.
But to get a little electrocuted, don't they do that like electroshock therapy for like depression or whatever? It could really sort me out, So I think maybe to get entangled a little bit with the electric monster could be, do me some good. And then I'm gonna kill, I don't know, those 2 skeletons. Fuck them.
Yeah, the skeletons are really annoying. You're right for that. I'm gonna kill them too. I'm gonna definitely fuck the electricity monster. Something about that guy, I don't know what it is. I've been like electrocuted before and I know how it feels, but for some reason in my head I'm like, that's like warm static. It's like I want to. And then who am I gonna marry? I think the Black Knight ghost. Actually, the pterodactyl ghost. I'm gonna ride around on him.
The real pterodactyl ghost. That's like my new like term of endearment for someone, instead of like babe or honey or like bestie or whatever. I'm gonna go, hey, can you hand me that? The real pterodactyl ghost.
Oh my god. And then what are you gonna eat and drink with this?
So, I feel like kind of lame, but I think you could do a cotton candy drink. And I don't really like drinks that are too sweet. And I know that they sell like cotton candy flavored like liquor. And I don't really fuck with the idea of that, especially like super artificially flavored liquors are usually like kind of gross to me. So I think you just make a drink that is sort of maybe something fun like a cherry or a raspberry, like something kind of fruity, but then you just garnish it with, instead of like rimming your glass with salt or something, you could maybe try to like rim your glass with cotton candy or like just a little ball of cotton candy on top of it, which will like obviously then dissolve, but that could be like the sugar component of your drink is a little cotton candy blob. I bet you could look up like cotton candy cocktail recipe, but I think that looking at that cotton candy monster, I always just want to like chomp into him. Even though cotton candy is never as like gratifying as you want it to be. You see it and you're like, oh, I want that, and then you bite into it and you're like, this is fine, I guess.
Yeah. Mid as fuck. Okay. And then what are you gonna eat with your cotton candy?
And then I think obviously, again, like super directly referential, but they have the big sandwich scene where Shaggy and Scooby like go into the fridge and slap together a really big sub and like eat it. And that's just like super quintessential Scooby Doo. So I feel like one of us might have said this last time for the last movie, but I think you get a baguette and you cut the whole baguette lengthwise.
No, you're right.
And you make like a delicious sandwich. I know Henry and I really fuck with you like cut steak really thin, like really thinly cut steak, and then brie cheese and like some arugula, balsamic, whatever else you want to put on it. But just like a brie and steak, and you do that on the whole baguette, and you like toast the whole thing, and then you can like cut it into however many pieces to serve.
No, you're right for that.
I love a baguette sandwich. So yeah, I think you do a big old sandwich and a cotton candy cocktail.
I dig that. I like that a lot. For some reason to me, and this is kind of half-assed, so I definitely agree with you, the sandwich. But if you want like a little dessert afterwards, for some reason to me, this movie gave s'mores. I don't know what it was. But for some reason it was giving s'mores, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna run with that. I don't know if it's just because it feels like a childhood thing and it feels like nostalgic and homey kind of thing. But you have your big sandwich, your cocktail, top your night off with a s'more and like a fucking PBR, because I bet that's what Shaggy would drink. You know what I mean?
Beer also does, I think, to another kind of beer that could be good to combine your two things would be like a porter beer that is like a s'more. I mean, s'mores is specific, but I know I get a lot of like peanut butter porters or like, you know, notes of chocolate or whatever, like a dark beer that is like a dessert beer. So you could definitely do like a chocolate peanut butter porter beer if you can find those. That's like really the only kind of beer I fuck with. I feel like that could feel nice for this movie. For when you said a dessert, I thought you were going to say pudding, because to eat pudding while you watch this movie, while watching the gloopy black tar ghost, and to eat a scoop of pudding while I see that could be very, like, that would align my chakras.
No, you're right. That's a good one. And then what are you gonna follow this up with?
But I fuck with s'mores too. So again, I swear to God I've said this for a different movie, but it's the only thing that really came while I was watching this. I was like, I know what I in real time want to watch next. What this is astral projecting me into the headspace where I want to watch the Jimmy Neutron movie.
I like that.
That is exactly what I want. And specifically, those two annoying little skeleton guys are slightly reminiscent of, in the Jimmy Neutron movie, they like go to space and they have to do like these like challenges to get back home, to bring all the adults back home. It's like the whole thing, but they have to do all these like challenges with all these other monsters to see which like race of, you know, what alien race will like prevail, basically. And two of them are these like weird little skeleton-y guys that are like just I don't even know if they're skeleton-y, but they have like one eye and they just move kind of similarly. But it was given that it was to me, I was like, I want to watch the Jimmy Neutron movie next. But in real life, the movie that I watched after this was the Spiderwick Chronicles, because
interesting.
After, I think this was just on like HBO or something, and after it was like recommended, and it was like Happy Feet, something else, and then Spiderwick Chronicles, and I just like naturally was like clicked on it. I was like, that's what we're watching next. And that was a big staple from my childhood, the Spiderwick Chronicles. I was definitely like really into the books and the movie. So that was also a pretty good like follow-up, because it was still like childhood vibes, but just like a little different, I guess. That's what I did. But I recommend the Jimmy Neutron movie. Yeah.
I like that a lot. I just love Matthew Lillard, and I want to see more of him. And obviously, there's plenty of other movies that he's done, but one of the most famous ones is obviously Scream. And I think it's fun, and it's again hijinks and everything like that in a very different way that this movie is. So I think you go and you watch Scream, because he's also sexy in that.
I was gonna say, he is hot in that one. Like, I think I only think of him as hot when he's Shaggy, because I know he has the potential to be hot in that kind of way. Like, Shaggy isn't necessarily, like, doing it for me, like, at a baseline, but Matthew Lillard does it for me because I know. Like, I know.
Yeah.
Definitely. And like the face piercings. Yeah.
What do you rate?
I'm gonna give it a 7. It's just like solidly a fun movie, super nostalgic, really good as far as like kids movies that are worth revisiting and rewatching. To just put this on like in the background while you're like, I don't know, having drinks or doing something. It's very fun. I don't know how often I would revisit it per se. Like, I think I would maybe rewatch the live action Scooby Doo's like once every 3 to 5 years or something. Yeah. It's not like on the top of my radar of like, you know, nostalgic kid movies that I have to watch regularly because I love them so much. It's more on the fringe side of that, but it's still good, and it's you know, pretty, it's quality. It was pretty groundbreaking in my opinion at the time, as far as like fun visual effects that early that were like kind of okay. Yeah. So, no, and like, you know, the costumes, the design, everything, and that cast, like, come on, like nobody has ever casted a movie better than they did for these live action Scooby Doo movies. Yeah. So I'll give it a solid 7.
Nice. I'm actually gonna sit it at a 5.5. I like this movie, but it is a lot, and it is kind of jumbled for me, honestly. I definitely like the first movie a lot better, and maybe that's just because I feel a lot more nostalgia towards that one. This one's a bit much for me. It's not exactly my favorite. It's got a lot of iconic moments, but it's nothing that I'm, like, jumping out of my seat. Like, I will always choose the first movie over the second.
There's nary a plot to be found. Like, hardly. But yeah, it is those really iconic, silly moments for me that I'm like, oh, like, come on, Sexy Velma, that's at least worth, like, 5 points right there.
Yeah, exactly.
This has been Sequel September, our second installment. We are ramping up. We have strategically decided the order of the movies we are covering to increase in intensity. So buckle the fuck in, because we are jumping off into some really good sequel content coming up. So just to, you know, I'm jazzed I'm jazzed about it, so y'all should be jazzed about it too. And I'll obviously, as always, all of the links below are to all of our socials. Reach out with theme ideas, movie suggestions, chocolate or vanilla, all of that stuff. We love to hear from all of you. Check out our TikTok, check out our YouTube. We're like in the process of trying to figure out the best way to get this to be like have a visual component. It's not easy because it's so long. I'm trying to figure out how other podcasts do it. So if anybody has any tips as far as like really long form, because it's so long, the quality kind of goes down and I don't want to put shit out, you know? Yeah. But anyways, but subscribe to our YouTube. We're going to try to be doing more like visual, you know, components of us talking, for the, you know, podcast related stuff. But, you know, also all of the other links, you all know what to do, and we all appreciate you and love you, and you're all great and fantastic and wonderful, and goodbye and good night.